Pretty soon after I started quilting, I was introduced to the rotary cutter, and it dramatically changed my entire world. It's changed the quilting industry for almost every quilter that is out there today. Westerly Design, when they designed the ruler foot, they dramatically have changed that way quilters are quilting. Long armers have had rulers for a long time, but our domestic quilters were at a disadvantage. We've never had those amazing products that could advance our skills. I have so many people say that I can't free motion, that I don't know how to do it, that I'm no good at it. Ruler work is not free motion, it's guided motion. I already know where I'm going, and all I have to focus on is just keeping the foot attached to the ruler until I'm at the end of the line. So it's really a big advancement, helping people to make their quilts as beautiful as they want and really changing the level of skill that our domestic quilters are going to see.
Hi everyone, it's Stacy with Sew Steady, and we've got Donelle McAdams here, and she's got another amazing project for everyone today. So we are going to be diving into using those, I think you're going to be using the applique disc that we have in the box. We've got the Christmas motif designs by SewBiz that she's going to be using. And check it out, guys, she's got that circles and straights tool on. So Donelle, I'm going to let you take it away and tell them all about this awesome project, and hopefully we get some of them sharing some of those projects out there to the world, because this seems like something we could whip out pretty quickly.
Yeah, and yes, I'm going to be using those applique discs, which are so awesome.
I love it.
I begged for these for quite a while, you guys, and I think you're going to see how many different ways that you can use it. So hopefully you've had time to download the handout. If not, it is there available. It is not a complete step-by-step. It's going to be more of a here's what you're going to need to do this project. And then because I am using a bias binding, I took several photos while I was preparing mine and made it so if you've never done a bias binding, you will know how to put that together. So I have got my fabrics here ready to get going with this. And first, I want to show you how we are using those applique discs to do our, in my case, I'm doing the gingerbread boys. So you can see here, Stacy, do you want to go to full screen on mine?
You are full screen. You're good.
Oh, well, it doesn't look like that on mine. So, okay. I just wasn't sure. All right. So this is the motifs, the Christmas motifs. I'm going to use the gingerbread boy. Obviously, you could use all of them if you wanted, or you could pick the tree or whichever one. So I am using a faux suede for my gingerbread boys. And so you can see it right here on the back. It's a little bit different. And then the front obviously is that faux suede. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my piece, and I'm using Templey Fuse, and that is a fusible that I am going to draw on. Now, it's important to remember that when you're drawing on the wrong side of this, you need to have what you're drawing so that it is in reverse. So my template, you can see right here, is backwards. And that's the way I want it. And the reason I say that is I just pulled a new one out of the package, but I'm going to be putting my stable tape on this. This would normally have stable tape on this side. And if I drew it that way, I would have the stable tape on there, and it would stick up too high, and these little itty bitty applique disc would slide underneath that template. So this makes it so it's going to be just right. Your applique disc are that green or yellow, depending on which way you look at it. Mine is a clear one, and you want a very sharp pencil to do this. So I'm going to put this right at the edge, and I'm going to trace right around the inside of my template. Now remember that template is such that I can, it's backwards is the best way to say it. So I have drawn that, and that's going to give me just a little 1/8 of an inch that sticks out. Now, these are so easy. I don't care whether they're clear or they're green, but these are so easy to lose. I keep them in that bag, and I've got a little spot here that has a magnet on the back that magnetizes right to my light bar that's above me. Now, what you would do with this is then take that. I'm not going to press this on because I've already cut all mine out, but you would want to make sure that this template fuse is smaller than this piece because you don't want to press it to your ironing board. And template fuse is a low temp. You don't have to have a high temp, which is good for our fabric here. And I am just going to press that down on there with that iron. So you're going to press that all on there, and then these little guys get cut out. Well, that cutting out takes a little bit of time. So magic here, we've already got ours all cut out, ready to go. Now, again, this is that faux suede, so it looks like
All right, we've got a slight pause here. Let me check in and see if okay, yep, we got to pause. So I will go ahead and let Donelle know that we want to go ahead and there she is. She's coming back. All right, no problem. And so as Donelle is doing that, I wanted to go ahead and just share something with you that we were working on and introduced yesterday, which is our new Sew Steady Stars program. And this is an opportunity for any and all of our community members to be able to earn stars and redeem towards product purchases and class purchases, potentially even retreat opportunities that we've got coming up in 2026. So the Sew Steady Stars is a blog page on our website that you can easily find. If you don't have the link, you can just go to our blog. And this tells you a little bit more about the program. And then as you scroll down, you're able to go ahead and register any post that you make, whether it's into Westerly by Me or out in the world of quilting and sewing. All you do is share your URL link right here, and then you can register that post, and it's 25 stars for every single post. And so if you send it to a couple different places, maybe you have a Facebook and an Instagram account, then you get credit for both of those. If you put it out there and TikTok land, I don't do a lot of that myself, but you never know, then that could potentially even credit towards a reel, which is 100 stars. So this is where you go. I'm just going to go ahead and give you a little star update right here so you can have that link. If you'd like to go ahead and participate, you're more than welcome to. We'd love to have you. And let me check and see where Donelle's at. I know that her phone just had a little thing. So I'm going to see if we're going to get her back on the line here. All right. Let's see. My guess is she's coming back. So, hi. Are you coming back online?
Hi, this is Jessica R. with
Oh
Sunsteady
yeah.
Design.
Sorry, I thought you knew that.
Sorry,
You were
this is
dropped
Marlene.
off about 5 minutes ago.
Hi, Marlene. I have an order they sent over for an acrylic insert to fit a
Go ahead and click that link.
2030. And they told us you have a
All right.
kangaroo
We're getting her
wallaby
back
tracking,
on here,
but
guys.
the measurements they gave don't match what we have on file for the wallaby. Is
Thanks
that a
for your
new wallaby
patience,
or-
everyone.
Okay, so it's a wallaby. All right. Yeah.
So do you want me to send you the link in the text again?
The wallaby 2 measurements. All right, well,
Okay.
we will get the insert going. You should have
And
it
then
by
while
Christmas.
Donelle's coming back in, I will also share another opportunity for you because we are doing some awesome giveaways as we head out of our as we kind of head into the next Elevate box, which is going to be launching this next week. We have our partner giveaways, guys. And while we had a whole bunch of awesome giveaways happen over the last 6 weeks, and we did that big event that on Tuesday, our partner giveaways is even better. We got So Steady partners that have included things like Janome offers a new sewing machine. We have a couple of our, we've got AccuQuilt that's offering a Go cutter. We have one of our partners offering here she is. Donelle's coming back, guys.
Give me a
she's
second.
coming back, I do have that gingerbread mat instruction on the screen, and I did post a link to this as well, but this is what you're going to be getting when you download this link. And this is giving you kind of basic instruction on how to create this project, guys. So definitely encourage you to check that out.
Big messing with my line.
You need to look up and talk.
I'm on live right now.
All right, so here's a link to that handout again. And Donelle, your screen is still black. I don't know if you are going to want to go out and come back in again. But I cannot see you yet. There she is. I see you now. Perfect.
Okay, now we're still on split screen.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
No, I think you're watching the wrong link.
Okay.
We have a full link and we have a split screen link.
Okay, so how do I get to the full screen?
Are you watching from YouTube at the same time?
I'm using the link you gave me.
Okay, it's just an option at the very bottom where you can say show, hide right below the image, but nobody else sees it. It's just you. So if you want to just proceed, then you're okay.
Okay, so I'm still on, right?
Yep.
All right. So if I'm on, we're going to go back because I don't want anybody to miss anything. And I have a feeling you didn't see me draw with the disc. Okay.
We did not. We missed that.
Okay. So here is my piece of fabric. I'm using a faux suede. And this was my blank piece of Template Fuse. And you can fuse it on and draw it, or you can draw it by itself and then fuse it on. It doesn't matter. But you have the Appliqué disc, which are little teeny tiny discs like our stitching line disc, only bitty. And that's one right there. Yours are in color. So yours are that yellow or green color. And what I was explaining was the fact that we need to make this pretend mine has the stable tape on it yet. I don't have it on there. I just pulled out a new one. And this writing up here should be backwards. Okay. So that way your stable tape is on this side. We're able to lay this down and use this little tiny disc and go all the way around the inside, which is making a design, a template that is 1/8 of an inch smaller than what your template is. But then when we use our foot to do our ruler work, it will stitch 1/8 of an inch inside of that, because 1/8 and 1/8 is 1/4. So now that we have drawn that, it's going to be perfect because we did it upside down with the template, so that little disc did not slide underneath there. If it had been the other way, it would have slid underneath and would have made a problem. So it makes it perfect, because now, this being the wrong side, we would fuse this on here. Now I would cut that off so it's not extra big, but I would fuse that on, and then I cut these out. And remember, your template fuse is a little, it's really nice because it doesn't have to have high heat. So you don't have to put it on super hot on your iron to fuse that down. Now I keep mine in this little box like this so that it's magnetized, and I can just stick it on my light so it's there. Now, because of the fact that it takes a little while to cut them out, I've already fused all of mine and cut them out. And I cut out 6 because when I lay this on here, if I decide I want another one, I will have it. But I think 5 is what I want. And so for those of you that have a 5-point crosshair square, or you have the minis and have a 5-point that way, it's going to make it super easy for you to position those onto your fabric. Now, I've already set up my fabric. I had it marked for the center. I've got my square here on top of my fusible. My fusible has the fusible side down. Now, I like to use either Pellon 987 or something like that rather than just batting, because of the fact that it's a little bit firmer and it keeps your table mats, your candle mats, whatever you're making, a little bit firmer is the best way to say it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a few things aside here so I can turn my iron on. Because I want to be able to press these in place. Now, I don't know if you heard me say, but I was mentioning that the handout is available. Stacy has put the link on there, and it's going to tell you the supplies that we need. And then I also did quite a bit of a layout on preparation for bias binding. And so I've got all those pictures there so you can see how we would do bias binding. Now, I've decided that I want to place my gingerbread guys, and this you might want to write down, because the handout on the front is a bigger one, and I knew we wouldn't have time to do all of that, so I just kind of made this one smaller. So this one is 21 inches by 21 inches. So I've decided I'm going to use 5 gingerbread boys. So I used my 5 spot crosshair square because that gives me perfect placement. I've also marked the center. And so now I want to get my ruler, and I've worked with this and tested it out a little bit. And so the head of my gingerbread boys are going to be 3.5 inches from the center. Now I am going to put a piece of fabric in the center, but it'll be like the last thing that I do, because then that way the fabric that's in the center only has like one hole in it. It's not going to have a bunch of pulls around. You can see my fusible on the back. I'm going to take this ruler, and this is my centering ruler, and I'm going to put that on 0 there in the center, and I'm going to come out, let's go this way, and I'm going to come out 3.5 inches, and that's where I want to make my gingerbread boy. I think it would probably be easier to do it this way. So there's 3.5. We're going to go by that one. I'm going to rotate this. If you have the outer rim tool, this would be a good place to use that, because that would measure the same way. So there will be a colored circle in the center. Right there from center. And we'll just take this and make that little mark. Now remember, my chalk I'm using is iron off chalk. So this little guy is going to go right on that line, right there. As soon as my iron warms up, I'll just put them on there. There's so many things that you can do. I just often chuckle when somebody says, why would I want a circle sewing mat? Oh my goodness. There's so many things I can do with a circle sewing mat. So this little guy's going to go right there. It always takes just a second to get that started, and then it peels off real easily, she said. And like I said, you could use any of your templates, but if you want a Christmas one, that's why we're using the Christmas motifs. I almost used the Christmas tree, but I had such good fabric for the little gingerbread guys. So sometimes just pulling that back is the ticket. All right. So let's get that iron up here. And we'll get these little guys pressed on there. So I'm putting my mat underneath. And I want to have it so it comes straight out. And you want to up and down with this, not iron until you get it on there. So he's in place. You can see I'm taking the time to turn it because I want to make sure that I'm lining straight up through and down through between his legs. Red fabric always has a tendency for some reason to make it look like you've ruined it, but it will go away. Make sure I keep everything good and flat here. Now this little guy has definitely changed directions, so let's get him in place. And then the next thing that we will be doing, I kind of got ahead of myself a while ago, but the next thing we will be doing is stitching around these guys. So whatever thread you choose for that, I'm going to use a brown. And because I can, I'm just going to take my big grid glider and put it right on top of this one. And I've got my brown thread in that I need to change to my ruler work foot. All right, so I've got my thread in there. Test this just a bit. I always test it. Good to go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take that template put it right around our little guy here. Got a hair I don't want to stitch in. Well, boy, that's being fussy. There we go. Okay. So you will notice when I put this on here, it's smaller, 1/8 of an inch smaller. So you're setting that in there like that. And then, of course, you're going to decide where you're going to begin. Put my needle down. Bring my bobbin thread up. And make sure you've got it centered all the way around. And now we're just going to stitch around it. And is that cool or what? And I'm just going to overlap and go ahead and cut. And then I will cut this later to perfect it. Go to the next one. Again, make sure you've got your little extra edges around there. And because I know what we're doing next, I think the best thing for me to do would be to start right here at the hand. Should have done that with the first one. So make a note of that. That's much better there. Now I'll be able to go back and press those again. And of course, this fabric is going to be super forgiving because of the fact that it's a faux suede. Let's go here again. Pull up that bobbin thread. Remember, this doesn't have its backing on it. So when I'm cutting those threads and there's tails on the other side, it does not matter at all. If you've never done these templates, you want to practice them because there's a couple places like right here that are a little different and you just don't want to get jerky when you go around those. So I'm going to cut that one. Put that on there so you can have a little spacing around it. I can just go ahead and actually start if you don't have a problem with thread nesting because like I said, it's not gonna, the other side's not gonna be seen. I can think of so many of our templates that this is going to be so much fun to play with those applique disc. And I will tell you a little secret. I got to come back here. There we go. If you're not using something like this faux suede, because this is not going to ravel at all, but if you use batik fabrics, they don't ravel nearly as much as a regular cotton fabric. So let me show you on the back what we've got here. As you can see, we've got our 5 little gingerbread guys. And so now we're ready to set up our circle sewing. So it's like magic. I just take this off and it's already there. So the first color that I'm going to be using is actually, I think it's white. Nope, I think I'm going to use green. So I am using a green rayon thread for this. And I will need to change back to my regular foot, and it's my decorative foot. Be a good idea if I raised it up, I guess. Always tighten your foot on there. And I am still going to use my top stitch needle because the rayon thread likes the bigger hole. So that will be perfect. And I am going to set this, if you're writing things down, to make a 5.5 inch circle. So this straight edge line right there, that vertical line, and this horizontal need to be right at 5.5. So I'm putting that, so that line is lined up with this line. Now wait a minute, 5.5, I need 11. Because I measured out from the center 5.5. So it's 11. All right. You want to make sure that that's on there good and tight. And I'm going to bring this in. And right there in the center, I'm putting that in place. And this is the reason I didn't do my center circle first, because I may be in and out of that hole several times. And I want to make sure that when I'm finished, the last thing I do is right there. So what I'm going to be doing is making it look like they are carrying a garland. So you can see why I changed my position. It's going to get covered up as it goes around. Now it's going to come this way. So when I select that decorative stitch, I want to make sure that I have it going the right way, and mine is not. So I'm going to mirror image it side to side. And I think I'll start right there and let this go. And if you have any questions at this point, now's a good time to ask them, because this is going to take just a little bit of time to do this stitch. And it looks like I need to adjust my tension just a speck. So let's see here. We're going to lower it. It was kind of cool. It was bringing up the red on my hearts, but I didn't want that. Oh, that's going to look so cute, you guys. It's coming so you can see it. So all I did was measure from the center out to know where I wanted the heads, and that was at 3.5. And for this guy, this circle is an 11-inch circle. So what it's doing is it's creating a little garland so that it looks like they're carrying or strung between a little garland. Now, while that's going on, let me explain a little bit, because this is the slowest stitch. If you look at your handout, after you get your pieces cut, you're going to follow those instructions. you have to get this angle going the same way on all of them. So you put them all face up. Obviously there's a right and a wrong side. You put them all face up, and then you're going to lay your 45-degree angle so that you can cut it this way. So then when you go to put them together, and this is also a place that you could use to cut it, the miter binding tool. And I will be using that to put these together. And you see the little garland back there that they're carrying? It's got a little heart and then a little bit of a filigree. You could actually use some sort of a cording foot and use some decorative threads and cord them around there if you wanted to. You could change the colors on this, and this same kind of a thing could be for Valentine's Day, since in this case I've got little hearts going around here. As you can see, I'm really working hard. It just does it all by itself. So for that center square, I have got a piece of my plaid fabric that has my template fuse on the back. I'll go ahead and pull that off, and that'll be ready to go. So you can see the little shine on the back. And I think the fun of this is you could, mix the Christmas trees with, or one of the other patterns in there. I have a lot of fun using, believe it or not, my scallop template to overall quilts, Christmas quilts, with these motifs. And then, it's just using the motifs, not doing any kind of applique, and then connecting them with the scallop template. So I do the top part and then flip it to do the bottom part. So it's a lot of fun to play with those templates and see how you can do an all over pattern. And there's really no right or wrong, and you can't really go wrong with that. So we're getting back here pretty close to our beginning. So we're going to kind of watch it, see what it does. And so it's almost to join. So I'm going to press my finish button to see if it will come back. And do that up and down. And then I'm going to cut it. So you can see around there, we now have these little guys holding their little garland as they go around. Now I'm going to change the color of my thread, and I'm going to go to a white. And I'm using again, this happens to be a glide thread. Whenever you're doing these decorative stitches, you don't want a real fine thread because you actually want this to show up. And I will need to change my bobbin thread. So I'm going to take this back out of the way, as well as my mat. And I'm going to put in a white thread. And let's see. I want this stitch to go below their feet. So I'm going to leave that all pinned in there. I'm going to lift this up, and I find usually the easiest way is to pull your mat up, and then this just kind of pops off, believe it or not. So if I want this to go under their feet, let's say we're putting this at 17.5, which is the circle diameter. So 17.5, because I still want to have room to do my, I better go 17, because I still want to have room for my binding. You're going to love how we put on that binding. All right, so let's get another stitch selected. We're going to go into our decorative stitches and see what pretties we can find. I'll tell you, when you find one that you like, be sure to write it down, because I know the stitch I want to use, but I can never seem to find it. And that's just in general. This one is a much faster stitch. I think we'll use this one. Okay. So again, I've got it at 17. And we're going right below their feet. It's rotating obviously out there on that pen. And you want to make sure nothing is impeding. Like my iron cord over here, a while ago, it was kind of in the way. Can you see that fun little stitch back there? And of course, you can program this. You could program in Merry Christmas to print around there. You could, if you're giving it as a gift, you could program in the members' family names, the date you gave it to them. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do, and it will stitch in a circle. Maybe the family has 5 people in it or 6 people. You could decide, okay, I'm going to put names on each of these little characters here so that they have all of that. So there's just so many things that are fun to do. And you can see I'm just obviously not doing much of anything, letting it go. And again, that's the beauty of a sew study table. just to be able to have a nice big surface to let this lay out nice and flat. Now that one that's on the front that I put 4 gingerbread boys and 4 gingerbread girls, that is actually, I will show that to you again, but it's actually like a 27, I believe, inches from side to side. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask them. Stacy can relay them and I'll answer them.
I don't see any questions right now. We do get a lot of people that are loving the gingerbread men. There's multiple.
Gingerbread babies, whatever, huh?
Love what a cute little project this is. I love the idea of using the machine to put a little holiday cheer on it, like Merry
Yeah.
Christmas or something. That's a fun idea.
Yeah, and you could do embroidery or you could just use your smaller letters. Most machines now come with smaller letters and you can program it in. I programmed in a circle, and nobody probably even knows it's there, but I programmed my name in to
Oh,
a
really?
project. Yeah, that was, is a bag, and I programmed it into one of the circles. But, it's like, I know it's there, and that's all that really matters. But just to be creative with using what you got on your
And then
machine.
that's a way of being able to say, no, that's my bag. It has my name on it. If you programmed it in.
Exactly. Exactly. So we got about, halfway to go here, you guys. And I don't sing, and you couldn't see me if I danced anyway. So, that's the fun of the circle thing, I guess, is a while ago when I was working on preparing this, I turned on my Pandora on my phone and had Christmas music going. And it's always fun to kind of get in the Christmas spirit or whatever the holiday may be when you're working with your projects. And believe it or not, my thread that keeps falling off is one I'm going to use in a minute. And I know it's a color that you're probably surprised at, but it's actually the color that's in our plaids. So we're going to use that here in a minute. Because the next thing we will do is put our circle in the center. And then we will sew this right sides together to get our big circle. Not right sides together. We don't have to do that. We're going to put it wrong sides together and you'll see how we do it. So the rest of this will go pretty quickly. It's just the decorative stitches that take a little bit of time. But it's always fun to use the decorative stitches on your machine. A lot of times we don't get to do that. And I will let you guys know, I think, if I'm correct, Stacy, they don't have to buy the whole set, although I think they're going to want the whole set. They can just get the gingerbread boy, I believe. You're muted.
We did give everyone the option to use the link and get the 20% off with the deal day 20 for Donelle.
Oh, perfect.
So I'll put that up in the screen again, so you guys can go ahead and take advantage of that. And Don't forget, that is a super deal. So you can take advantage of getting those SoBiz rulers, just the gingerbread man, the whole set. Yeah, they are available individually.
Yeah. And you know, one thing I forgot, and I'm just kicking myself. I wish I had a brick. I'd set it on this so it could run and I could go. But last year, one of the things that I did, and good grief, it might have been 2 years ago, was we did put like layers of felt together and stitch these ornaments. And that way you can make like felt ornaments.
Oh yeah, I
with
remember
these.
that.
Yeah, and I should have gotten those out of they're in the travel bag, but I should have gotten those out because all you do, guys, is just put 2 of the pieces of felt together. If you want them thicker, you can put a little piece of flannel or something like that in between, maybe even batting. And then you just stitch around like we did and then cut up, I use pinking shears and, leave a little extra. And then that way you have ornaments that are made with these, and all you have to do is attach some sort of a decorative thread to the top to make a hanger for it. And they make a lot of fun things. They make great gift tags because if it's felt, you can probably use a permanent marker and write somebody's name on it. So again, just being creative. So if I haven't said it enough, I'll say it one more time. The gingerbread guys were 3.5 to the top of their head. And then this circle was an 11-inch circle. So that went around there. This circle out here, I am doing at 17 inches. And where'd my notes go? Here we go. The garland was at 5.5, which means it was an 11-inch circle. And the center circle is going to be almost 6 inches, not quite. So here we come again. So I'm going to do this sooner this time. So I'm pressing my finish button. And I need to do just a little bit more. So I'm going to start again. And now it's meeting up. So I'm just going to take this to a straight stitch. Well, I've got a little bit more to do. There we go. And I'm just going to cancel that and then stitch right in place. There we go. And cut that. And the whole idea is you can see right there's where I joined, but you'd really be hard pressed if I didn't show you that where it was. So I've got that all the way around. Stacey might want to mute. And we are going to go back in towards the center here. And like I said, I'm going to be doing an almost 6-inch circle. Not quite. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put on a green thread. And I'm going to find the center of my piece here. And I believe it's right in the center of that. And when you have something as, I guess I'm going to say, as obvious as this is, you definitely want to make sure that you find a center. Woo, we're close there, but we're going to make it. Okay, so I don't need to press anything down. We're going to go ahead and have this stitching a straight stitch. So I'm going to put that in place, put my needle down, and stitch a straight stitch around here. And I will tell you that having the fusible on the back so that it, even though it's not pressed down, it's clinging down. It makes it so much easier to do this circle. It just stays in place so much better. Now I'm going to go ahead and stop and cut. And I like to use these particular scissors here to cut this out. And I leave it, my foot is up, so it will turn around as I'm cutting up next to that stitching. And this is the side it was really close on, but we got her. All right. So now I'm going to pick a decorative stitch to stitch around this. So we've got so many fun ones to pick from. Let's see what we're going to do on this. I want to make sure that it's going to catch the edge. So I think I'm going to do this one. And I happen to be mirror imaging it. So let's just, it goes rather quickly. But you can see the center is going right through the center of my foot. So I've got stitching on and off of that edge. So it's basically covering up that raw edge. And since I'm using the same thread as I did to stitch my circle, neither one of them is going to really like jump out at you as this is what we did. And I'm not going to do just one stitch. You'll see how I change this up just a little bit. Back there, maybe you can see it's kind of a circle stitch that's heavier on the bottom. And of course, this is going through just all those same layers there. I'm even going to put on my binding with the circle sewing tool. Not only just attach it, but stitch it down. So I've learned a fun little thing. You can make this almost look like it was crocheted around the edge or tatted or whatever you want to say by just moving it out a little bit so it interlocks with itself. All right. So again, because I watched it as it was coming to the end, I could get it. There's where it's joining. You can hardly tell it. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move this out ever so slightly. You always have to get that center line on the center or you won't have it lined up. And now I'm going to change this thread to that light green thread. Do I want to do that or do I want to do white? I think I want to do this one. Okay. So now I'm going to reverse it. So that the heavier side is on the inside. And I am watching this to do a little bit of guiding on it because I can kind of push it out or push it back if I need to. So I've got a spot on my foot right there that I'm watching the actual edge of that fabric come around.
Oh, we've got a question, Donelle.
Yes, ma'am.
Someone wants to know if you're going to do a New Year's party.
I don't know. I got some fun things that I haven't had time to do, so you never know. I might do some quick projects on that night.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll tease it and see if we can
Yeah.
get the people that tell you you have to do it.
Okay. It's hard to believe that we're almost at that time. I'm hard
Oh
to
my
believe it's almost
goodness.
Christmas.
I know.
Can you guys see how pretty that's looking coming around there? It
I
just,
absolutely love that you added that plaid too. That's so cute.
that's what's going to be our binding too. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. And it's just, I know you guys can't see it as well as I can, but it's such a pretty, when you do that second stitch, it just makes it so, I don't know, it just kind of looks like I did some handwork. And hand's a 4-letter word, so I don't do handwork.
Yeah. Oh, somebody else said yes to the New Year's party.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to see. It's always fun, that's for sure. So here we are coming back. I'm going to press the stop button. And it's going to stop, knot off for me, as you can see. And I cut it. Ah, yes. Okay. So now what I need to do is, I've got a spot there, obviously, that I know where it's going to go back on because I got to get my backing. But this is going to allow me to show you how cute that little border is there, or that cut around, or that stitch around there. So let's lay that aside for a second and find my backing. I got to find the middle of it. Give it a little finger press there. Put that right on that. Well, that's not where it's going to go. So let's get it where it's going to go. So we're making a circle. Remember I said I find it best if it just pops up and pops off that way. We're making a circle that is 20 inches. So I'm coming out to my 20 and I'm putting that down. Now, if you need to adjust, obviously, maybe your fabric, I did it so I just had the same fabric. I could just cut a 20-inch piece and then get it both out of the same one. So we're clear down here, finding our center. And then we're going to go back and put this on. And I know it's not right sides together, but it's not supposed to be. We're putting a binding on here. There's my hole. I should say there's my center. And just so you know, because this is square, I really don't have to get this lined up. Anywhere it's at, it's going to still be able to do the circle. Now I'm just going to leave this thread in here because that way you'll be able to see it. It's going to get cut off, or not cut off, but covered up. So we're just going to sew a straight stitch around this. And when I do this, just a little secret, My machine has a lot of needle positions. And so I'm going to move this out to the right a little bit so I can get whatever circle size I want, but it's bigger because I need to do 2 rows of stitching around this. And you'll see why. And I won't have to move anything. And I'm just smoothing it out from the center as I go. Get you back over here where you can see. So I got right back to where I started, which is a good thing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and move my needle to the left side, my needle position. And stitch it again. The reason I'm doing 2 rows, and they're about 1/4 of an inch apart because of the way I moved it, is this will give me more stability when I'm putting my binding on. Just a sewer's trick. Okay, it just already feels so much more stable just because I've got that on there. Now, I'm going to cut this so that it's about 1/8 of an inch away from that stitching. And I do better cutting the other way when I'm working on this because I can turn it easier. So it's coming around at you. You can see that I'm cutting that off. Now, if you're making circular napkins, has nothing to do with this project, but it's a good idea to offset those grains. So you're going to have one of the fabrics that is straight up and down like this, and the other one that's at a 45-degree angle. And that way, when you're making that circle on an edge where one is off grain, the other one is on grain. So it makes that circle stabilized so that you won't have any ruffling or fluting or whatever you want to call it on that circle because you offset the grain. Okay. I have made it all the way around. And the method I'm going to use, I need my bound to fit tool. So I'm going to get started on this because I know where it's at. I just have to get it. So what we're going to do, there's no top or bottom to this as far as this is the bottom, that's the top. It doesn't matter. I've already joined all of my bias cut and it's in the handout how you do that. And I use the bound to fit tool to join these pieces because it makes it so much easier. Now, in the technique of the bound to fit, you leave about 10 inches when you start. So I'm putting this right on the edge. And I'm going to move it in just a smidge. So that when I stitch this down, center that and see what I got. I'm looking here at this stitching. I'm going to move my needle over just a little bit. Oh, got to have the raw edges there, Donelle. And I'm putting that right on that edge. And we're going to start. We're going to back stitch. And we're going to sew this around that edge. That's why you want to make sure you cut it exact, I guess is the best way to say it. Now I'm going to check back here and make sure I've covered up my green stitching, and I have. And because it's bias cut, it's going to form right around your circle. It wouldn't do that if it was straight edge cut. And isn't this easy to let the circle sewing tool turn it for us? Now what I want to do is check to see if I've got enough. Yes, I do. Oh, this is so much fun. My studio is separate from my house, and my mat at the front door of the studio says this is my happy place, and it's truly factual. Now, I wish it was a little bit cleaner, but I'm getting there. So we're almost around. I still have to leave an open space. So I don't want to get too excited here and sew too far. I got about 4 more inches to go, and then I got to stop. Okay, I'm going to back stitch. I'm going to cut my thread. And I need to decide what color I'm going to do my turning in to the back. Dark green is a definite. And I'm going to tell you as I turn that, I think I would like to have cut up closer to that stitching. So just right outside the widest stitching would be good. It'll give you more to turn. Unless you happen to cut 3-inch wide, which mine's 2.5. And I'm going to go get my bound to fit tool so you can see how that's used. I'll be right back.
You know, Donnell, Jody Runyon mentioned how amazing it is to put your binding on with the Circles and Straights tool. And I would tend to agree with her. Absolutely love it.
Yep, on a circle project, it's great. So here's my bound to fit. And when I found my bound to fit, I found my little colored applique disc. So what we're doing on this is normally done on the straight. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a couple pens because it's curving, which is perfectly fine. But what I'm going to be doing is bringing this other one and pinning it. Because what I need to do is make them meet and just finger press a fold where they meet. So obviously, with it being on a circle, you got to really make sure that you got your fabric allowed just right. So there it is. I'm going to press that. And now to do the next steps, I need the space, so I have to undo these pens. But that's okay because I've already got this fold. You can see my fold right there. So I'm going to lay this open. Get a couple of my toys out here. So I keep a cutting mat right at my sewing machine, a little one, because if you've never used Bound to Fit, you're going to fall in love with it. Because there's a line on here that says to fold. for the 3-inch and for the 2.5 inch. I'm using 2.5 inch. So I'm lining that up right on that fold, right against this black. And I'm going to cut that way and then that way because I'm getting my perfect edge. And then on this one, I'm still looking at the right side. You have to remember that. And we take there's my fold. We take the tool, it was this way the first time, and we just rotate it. I got to bring this back to me because I got to have enough room to cut. We rotate it, so now the fold is this way, laying flat. This fabric here, that's why we left so much space, has to lay flat. Use the 2.5 inch line for the fold. I love this new one. And you guys that had the box got that in this last quarter. And then you're going to cut that off, that little tip there. So now what we have left goes together perfectly. So I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to open this one up, making sure I've got them laid together right. And I don't. So let's go again. This way is the way it goes. I get that out of my way because I can still do this while it's on that circle. And that will match up perfectly there. And when I'm sewing them in a strip, I don't take the time to pin them. I just lay them one on top of the other. But you can see that this is being a little bit more fussy. So I've got to pin it. And that's why I left a complete 12 inches there. Because now what I need is my 1/4 inch. And I'm going to guide on the inside of my foot there rather than changing my needle position. And then this is now ready. I'm not going to go over to the ironing board, but I am going to use my fingers because this is about the only time in any kind of quilting that I press something open because it will eliminate the bulk when you do that. And so now we're just going to put this back on here. Whoa, 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 whoa. I wasn't ready for you to go down yet. There we go. And this will fit right back around here. And no one will have any clue where I started and where I stopped. Whenever it looks like it's going to be puckered up a little bit, just raise that foot up and you can work with it. All right, so we've got that stitched on there and I can cut that off. And now, all I need to do is turn this to the back and decide where my stitching needs to be, which probably looks like I just need to move my needle position a couple of spots to catch that. Maybe a couple more. And I'm just going to get ahead of the game here. Is that easy or what? And it's just so, I'm not going to say perfect because I'm not perfect, but it's just doggone near it. Now I got a spot there that looks like I'm going to have to take a couple green threads out, but a seam ripper is in hand. So you can see how it's going right around that edge. It's catching on the back. I'll have a few threads here where I started. I should have cut those off to begin with. But that's why I do 2 rows of that stitching to give this some stability. Looks like I got some more, but that's okay. I don't care. I'm a seam ripper, even though it is handwork. And if you wanted to, you could just stop and pin this all the way around back, but it's just as easy to do a little bit at a time. Treat yourself to some Wonder Clips because they're perfect for this. But you can't do this with straight binding. You have to have the bias, and that's why I took the time to give you pictures. If you've never cut bias binding, just follow those pictures and you will be good. I always think, especially on the circle, but on any of them, I always think the bias, even though it takes a little extra time, it's always fun to see what it adds to the project. It just makes it so easy to put this around. But I am going to have some stitches to rip out. You see how I'm just kind of giving that a little bit of a pull. And we're over halfway around already. And it's just so nice to be able to have that machine pulling that fabric for you. If you want it wider, then you're going to adjust whatever I've, told you there. And make it wider. I love it that the machine always stops with the needle down. So it's not going to move or go anywhere on me. So yeah, I got a little bit of picking to do there. Should have cut a little closer to my stitching the first time. But there we are, all the way around. I'll overlap and back stitch and just cut it off. And they always look better once they are pressed, obviously. But there we have our finished mat with our bias binding all the way around. And just so you can see, oh, I didn't show it right. There we go.
Oh, I love it.
Overlapped on the back. That's the back. There's the front. So anyway, I hope you enjoy making this project and share it with us on Westerly by Me. And this is a good start. Obviously, we can use this as a candle mat. You can, put a lantern. Wouldn't that be pretty? Like a lantern with some extra greenery or whatever around it.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
So anyway, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone. This is a perfect little project to whip out for a little more decor. Well, thank you so much for sharing that today, Donelle. And we'll look forward to having more live education coming tomorrow and Friday. And then we've got our next box release coming up next week. So I did post a link to enter to win. And that is the enter to win our big partner giveaway, guys. It's over $3,000 in different prizes, including a Janome Skyline machine, an AccuQuilt Go cutter, bags, and all kinds of goodies. So you're going to definitely want to jump over there. Make sure you get signed up to win. And I will post a link to that again. But we'll look forward to having more great education. Someone asked a question about taking advantage of that Deal Day 20 coupon. I do believe your order has to be over $25 for that to work. So if you have something else maybe you need to throw in the cart, then that could be a great opportunity. And note that if you purchase at any order over $50, also gets a free new calendar for 2026 that's coming with it. It's a great thing to set up in your sewing room. We've got a little QR code that you can scan to get right to all of our YouTube classes that we're hosting every single week. And so, it's a great way to just kind of keep on top of everything. All right, Donelle. Well, I will stop talking and we'll let everybody start shopping.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. It's our final week of our Sew Steady 6 weeks of deals, and we are ending strong this week with one of our absolute favorites, the Sew Steady Grid Glider. This fan favorite tool transforms your sewing surface into a slick surface for you to have your fabric glide smoothly every time. No snags, no drags, just smooth controlled stitching every single time. Plus, a built-in measurements on the glider itself, so it will help you stay perfectly aligned for more accurate seams and flawless piecing on all of your sewing projects. And this week only, when you add a Sew Steady Grid Glider to your cart, we are giving you a free polish kit to keep your table ready to have any project glide through that needle area with ease. Ideal for free motion, template quilting, or really any sewing surface where you want your fabric to move freely. It's the perfect upgrade for every quilter and sewer who loves precision and a clean, smooth sewing surface for any kind of setup. Want to win big this week? Like, comment, and share on this video to enter. Buy the featured product for bonus entries. And don't forget to sign up for our weekly prize giveaway. Now, in addition to that, we are going to give you your last chance to sign up for our big grand prize, which is happening Tuesday, December 9th, this coming Tuesday at 10 a.m. So you need to sign up for the enter to win on the grand prize before then. This is huge. This is a So Steady wish table like you see right here with one of our travel and project bags and our smartphone lounger, plus our Elevate quilt box. This amazing box right here, you can get it for our current quarter, or you can wait and get it for the next quarter that's releasing just on 2 weeks. That is a total value of over $875. So definitely want to take advantage of that if you can. Don't miss out. It's your final week to sign up for these deals, score these prizes, and don't forget to join us on Tuesday, December 9th, where we will have live giveaways. We'll be unveiling all of our new calendars and some new programs for 2026. And of course, you're going to have these bonus entries to win. So we hope to see you on December 9th at 10 a.m. during our customer appreciation event. Happy holidays.